Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom. Bim bam, bim 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 bam, bim 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 bam, bim bam, bim 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 bam, bim 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 bam. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Whether you are with us here in the room or whether you are with us in internet space, welcome. Shabbat Shalom to all of you. My name is Rabbi Sarah Zober. I am one of the rabbis here. Our other rabbi is at home recovering from a bicycle accident, but he sends his love to everyone. And we hope that everyone has a peaceful and warm Shabbat as the temperatures have dropped here in Reno pretty significantly. We begin together on page 6 with a reading. We will be using Siddur Mishkan Tefillah. If you are here in the room or if you have one of these at home, please feel free to follow along with our Siddur. If you are in internet space and need a Siddur, we have a virtual Siddur, and Michael, who is our tech expert, will put up the instructions on how to get that at the bottom of your screen. So we turn together to page 6. We enter the sanctuary to welcome Shabbat. Within these walls, we sit surrounded by numberless generations. Our ancestors built the synagogue as a visible sign of God's presence in their midst. Throughout our long history and our endless wanderings, it has endured, a beacon of truth, love, and justice for all humanity. Its presence guided our ancestors to lives of righteousness, holding up to them a vision of their truest selves. Now we, in our turn, come into this sanctuary to affirm the sacredness of our lives. May we enter this place in peace. May holiness wrap around us as we cross its threshold. Weariness, doubt, the flaws within our human hearts, the harshness of the weak, let these drop away at the door. In the brightness of Shabbat, let peace settle upon us as we lift our hearts in prayer. It's my pleasure to invite up Frank and Maddie to light our Shabbat candles. If you'd like to follow along with them, you can follow along on page 2. You might want to use the butane. Yeah, try that one. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu le'adlik ner Shel Shabbat. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We welcome the Sabbath each week with some songs. And so our first song can be found on page 10, Yedid Nefesh. Yedid Nefesh of Harachaman, Yedid Nefesh of Harachaman, Meshochavtecha El Ritzonecha, Meshochavtecha Yadai El Ritzonecha הרחמן, ידיד נפש הרחמן, משוכבתך אל רצונך, משוכבתך ידעי אל רצונך, ירוץ עבדך כמו היה, ישלח בידי ידעי אל מועדרך. Our next song can be found on page 11. This is actually an old Baghdadi melody for Ki Eshmara Shabbat. As we observe Shabbat, God watches over us, and Shabbat is a sign forever between us and God. Ki Eshmara Shabbat El Yishmereni, Ki Eshmara Shabbat El Yishmereni, Oti leomead beino ubeini, Oti leomead beino ubeini, Ki Eshmara Shabbat El Yishmereni, Ki Eshmara Shabbat El Yishmereni, Oti leomead beino ubeini, Oti leomead beino ubeini. As is traditional on Shabbat evening, we turn to page 20 for Lechado D. This is our piyut, our liturgical poem that welcomes in the Sabbath bride. It is our custom that as we sing Lechado D, we will sing verses 1, 2, 4, and 9. And when we reach the 9th and final verse, if you are able, please rise in body or in spirit and face our exterior doors and bow as we welcome the Sabbath bride into our midst. Lechadodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela. Lechadodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad hishmianu, El hameyuchad Adonai echad, U'shemo echad, Shemo tiferet v'litahila. Lechadodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela. Lechadodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'necha, Ki mekor ha'baracha merosh mikedem, Nesucha sof ma'aseh v'machshava tchila. Lechadodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela. Lechadodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela. Hitorari, ki ba'orech, Umiori, uri, Shira beri, Kvod Adonai, Alayich nigla. Lechadodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela. Please rise. Lechadodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela. Bo'im v'shalom ateret balagan. ובצולתו חמונה עם סגולה בואי חלה לך דודי לקראת קלה פני שבת נקמלה לך דודי לקראת קלה פני שבת נקמלה. You may be seated. We turn together to the Chatzi Kaddish, which can be found on page 26. Yitkadal, Yitkadash, Shemei Rabba, Amen. Be'amad yivrach chirutei, be'amlich malchutei, b'chayechon u'b'yom echon, u'chayedecho beit Yisrael, bagala, u'bizman karif, v'meru, Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabba Mevorach Le'olam Olam Me'amaya Yitbarach V'yishtabach V'yitba'ar V'yitramam V'yitnaseh V'yitadar V'yitaleh V'yitalal Shemei Dekudasham Brichu Le'la Min Kol Birchata V'shirata Tushbachata v'nechamata damiran be'ama me'meru. Amen. We turn to page 28 for the Baruch Hu. We all rise in body or in spirit. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach We turn to page 30. In the very middle, you'll see a little section that goes Borei Yom V'Laila. That's the part that we are going to be singing. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night turns to day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Borei Yom V'Laila, Golel Or Mipnei Choshech, Golel Or Mipnei Choshech, V'Choshech Mipnei Or. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night turns to day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night returns tonight. Borei yom v'layla, golel mipnei chosh, golel mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or. We'll say together the blessing at the bottom of the page. Baruch atah Adonai hama'ariv aravim. Page 33. As you taught Torah to those whose names I bear, teach me Torah too. Its mystery beckons, yet I struggle with its truth. You meant Torah for me. Did you mean the struggle for me too? Don't let me struggle alone. Help me to understand, to be wise, to listen, to know. Lead me into the mystery together. Baruch atah Adonai ohev amo Yisrael. The Shema can be found on the next page. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. You may be seated. The rest of the Shema can be found on page 36. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavacha hayom al levavecha Vishinantam levanecha, v'dibarta bam, v'shivtecha b'veitecha, uv'lechtecha b'derech, uv'shochbecha uv'kumnecha, u'kshartam leot al yadecha, v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha, uchtavtam, Al mezuzot betacha uvisharecha l'mahan tizkeru va'asitem et kol mitzvotai mitem kedoshim lelohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim Lihiot lachem lelohim ani Adonai Elohechem Adonai Elohechem emet. We turn to the bottom of page 39 and read responsively. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and on earth. The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love. From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way. Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again we overcame oppressive forces. Though our failings are many and our faults are great, It has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed. Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be one and at peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea. Mi Chamocha can be found on the next page. ונאמר כפר אדוני את יעקב וגלו מיד חזק ממנו ברוך אתה אדוני קהל ישראל. Page 43. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will. Baruch atah Adonai, haporeis sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim. Yism'Zoom can be found at the bottom of the next page. Yismechu b'malachutecha, shomrei, shomrei, shomrei Shabbat, v'korei oneg Shabbat. Yismechu b'malachutecha, shomrei, shomrei, shomrei Shabbat, v'korei oneg Shabbat. Mekadeshei Shavi Shabbat, Kulam Yisbehu, Beyetangu Metu V'Chashabat, Yismechu V'Malachutecha, Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat, V'Korei oneg Shabbat. Yismechu b'malachutecha, shomrei, shomrei, shomrei Shabbat, v'korei oneg Shabbat. V'hashvi'i ratzita bo v'kidashto Shabbat. Chemdat yamim, oto karata Shabbat. Yismechu b'malachutecha, shomrei, shomrei, shomrei Shabbat, v'korei oneg Shabbat. Yismechu b'malachutecha, shomrei, shomrei, shomrei Shabbat, v'korei oneg Shabbat. Zecher l'maseh v'rei ישמחו במלאכותך. שומרי 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 שבת וקוראי עונג שבת. ישמחו במלאכותך. שומרי 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 שבת וקוראי oneg Shabbat. We now enter into our standing prayer, the Amidah, which is the highlight of our service this evening. If you'd like to turn to page 46, and please rise in body or in spirit for the Amidah. Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi agita hilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzhak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor B'Hanora, El Hayon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Mekonei Hakol, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם, בעזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיה הכל אתה רב להושיע, משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מחכה חיים בחסד, מחיה הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתי ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומדום מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה. ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל, ברוך אתה אדוני מחיה הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. We take a moment for silent prayer. Please continue to page 62, and you may be seated when you are finished. We turn to page 62 in the middle. Adonai tzuri, Adonai tzuri, v'goali, v'goali. At this time, I'm going to call a few people up to help us with our Torah service this evening. We will be doing a short Torah service for those of you who may not be able to make it in the morning. We turn to page 245 at the bottom, and it's my pleasure to invite up Nathan and Shalom Gorden and Alina and Sasha. Would you like to come up? Come on. I have jobs for you. We turn to page 245 at the bottom. Please rise. One second, wait. Happy is the one who finds wisdom, the one who gains understanding. For its value is greater than silver, its yield than fine gold. It is more precious than rubies. No treasure can match it. Page 246. Ki mitzion tetzeh Torah, ki mitzion tetzeh Torah, u'devar Adonai mirushalayim. Got it? Yeah, cool. We turn to page 248. Baruch Shenatan Torah, Torah. Baruch Shenatan Torah, Torah. Le'amo Yisrael b'kedushato. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo, Gadol Adonai Iti, Uneromama Shemo Yachdav, Lecha Adonai Hagedula, V'Hagevura, V'Hatiferet, V'Hanetzach V'Hahod, Ki Cho B'Shamayim U'Va'aretz, Ki Cho B'Shamayim U'Va'aretz, L'cha Adonai HaMamlecha, V'Yamid Na'aseh L'chol Erosh. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Kol Shema Tehallel, hallelujah, hallelujah. Kol Shema Tehallel. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Thank you, ladies. You may be seated. You may all be seated. We are in the book of Genesis, and we are deep in the story of Joseph. Now, trick question, who knows who the main character of the story of Joseph is? I told you it was, okay, so Joseph, he's one of them, yeah. Who else is another main character? Who? Okay, God. Yeah, good trump card. I like that one. Yeah, okay. Yeah, God. Aside from the Book of Esther, you're safe using that one. Yeah. All right, who else? He's got a ton of brothers, right? One of his brothers, Judah, I have arguments with my husband all the time over whether Judah or Joseph is the star of this Joseph cycle. That is a sermon for a different day. But monumental things happened to Judah in today's portion, as well as Joseph. Last year, I focused on Judah. I figured I should probably give Joseph a little bit of time this year. So we will be reading about one of the sections where Joseph gets into a little bit of trouble. One of the many times Joseph gets into a little bit of trouble. If you are here in the room in your blue booklets, you can follow along in the English or in the Hebrew. I will be starting at Genesis 39, verse 7. And we are going to see what happens when your boss's wife propositions you. It is my pleasure to invite up for our Aliyah, Quentin Foley. Ya'amod Mordechai ben Elitza v'jay la'aliyah. I'm going to show you where I am, okay? Right there. Okay, so hold on.
Baruch et Adonai Hambarach.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Amen. Okay, perfect. Stay here. Stay here. You get to look over my shoulder. Vayahi achar hadvarim ha'ela vatisa eshet Adonav et eneha el Yosef vatomer shichva imi vaymaen vayomer el eshet Adonav Hey, Adoni, lo yada'iti ma babait, v'chol asher yesh lo natan biyadi, einenu gadol, babayit hazeh mimeni, v'lo chasach mimeni me'umah, ki im otcha ba'asher et ishto, איך אעשה הרעה הגדולה הזאת וחטאתי לאלוהים. ויהי כדברה אל יוסף יום יום ולא שמע אליה נשכב אצלה להיות עמה.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam nata betochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Amen. Don't run away, Quentin. Don't run away, Quentin.
Okay.
That happens to these 14-year-old guys. They're like, okay, I'm done. I get to say a blessing. This is good. This is a big moment for your mother.
Okay.
May the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bless you since you have come up to Torah for the honor of God and of Torah. May you merit from the Holy One of blessing, protection, rescue from any trouble or distress, and from any illness, minor or serious. May God send blessing and success in your every endeavor, together with all the people of Israel. And let us say, Amen. Thank you, sir. At this time, with the Torah in our midst, we think of those in our community who are in need of a bit of healing. We are thinking now of Wendy Alderman, Harav Binyamin Ben Yaakov Bebracha, Joan Brickman, Neil Calder, Laura Cohen, Stephen Gold, Al Grossman, Marlene Harris, Ken Hecht, Harvey Higdon, Laura Jawad, Richard Lopez, Harav Miriam Bat Shifra V'Pinchas, Harav Miriam Yael Chaya Bat Sarah, Jackson McKenna Morgan Ramirez, Lori Pattison, Judy Ramos, Shirley Retkovitz, Sarah Batchava, Marianne Schenker, Jessica Waddatz, Paula Wolf, Usher Zalik, Tim Ober, and of course, everyone affected by the coronavirus. If there are other names that you would like to list either in the chat, please do so, or I will have my hand coming over you. Please feel free to say those names aloud if you would like. Thank you. For all those names that remain in our hearts and all the names that we have said aloud today, we wish them a refuah shlema, a complete and speedy healing of body and of spirit. Our song for healing can be found on page 253 in your prayer books. Mi sheberach avotenu mekor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mi sheberach imotenu mekor habracha leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. We turn to page 252, and it is my pleasure to invite up Alexa Foley to help me with Hagba and Galila. Ta'amod Hagalelet. We all rise. Vezot HaTorah asher sam Moshe lifnei bnei Yisrael. Al pi Adonai b'yad Moshe. Yai dai dai dai, yai dai 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 dai, yai dai 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 dai, yai dai dai dai. Yai dai dai dai, yai dai 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 dai, yai dai 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 dai. Vezot HaTorah asher sam Moshe lifnei bnei Yisrael. Al pi Adonai b'yad Moshe. We turn together to page, Alexa, stay up here, to page 257, and we read responsively. When Torah entered the world, freedom entered it. The whole Torah exists only to establish peace. Its highest teaching is love and kindness.
What is hateful to you, do not do to any person.
That is the whole Torah. All the rest is commentary. Go and learn it. Those who study Torah are the true guardians of civilization.
Honoring one another, doing acts of kindness, and making peace These are our highest duties. But the study of Torah is equal to them all because it leads to them all.
Let us learn in order to teach. Let us learn in order to do. Page 256. Etz chaim hi l'machazikim ba v'tomcha me'ushar deracheha darchenu b'chol tiboteha Shalom, Hashivenu Adonai, Elecha Enashuva, Chadish, Chadish Yomenu, Chadish Yomenu, You may be seated. The section of this week's Parsha that I chanted for you this evening contains one of the rarest cantillation markings in the entire Torah. Now, cantillation is our system by which we chant the melodies on the Hebrew of the Torah. And the shalshelet, that's the name of the cantillation that is on Vaima'ain, which means he refused. That shalshelet happens only 4 times in the entirety of the Torah. And it is also our highest and longest trope marking. The word shalshelet comes from shalosh, 3, for the 3 rises and falls that happen in its melody. Our medieval commentators tell us that when a shalshelet appears, each of those 4 times, it is meant to signal to us that the person is in great conflict and is vacillating between what is right and what is wrong. Joseph, in our Parsha tonight, vacillates between refusing Potiphar's wife's advances, surely a move that would make this powerful woman upset with him, or committing adultery and betraying his master Potiphar's trust. Stuck in a terrible place as a slave between his master and his mistress, he vacillates back and forth with the music of the shalshelet before deciding Vaima'ain, to refuse her, whatever the consequences may be. Because sometimes the right choice isn't a good choice. Often we are faced with choosing the lesser of 2 evils. And there are times where we are faced with choices where no matter what it is that we choose, we are going to be worse off than where we were before. I don't know about you, but I think we're a bit in the age of the shalshelet, of a constant back and forth between options that all feel sort of wrong. Are we endangering one another by getting together in person? Or are we endangering our future as a congregation by remaining apart? We might make choices to reduce our meat consumption to help the climate, but then remember that a lot of people work on these meat farms. When we are faced with big, catastrophic problems, it can often feel like there is no good choice, that every single choice we could make will hurt someone or cause some sort of destruction. And this can cause our own shalshelet vacillation to go on and on. The Rambam comments on the shalshelet that one who vacillates but considers all of the options before making a choice and then does the right thing is even more righteous than a person who does the right thing immediately without thinking. Why is this? He points out that considering the effects of our choices and our decisions is what is holy and good. As Americans, we know we all need to drive less to reduce the strain our fossil fuel consumption puts on the earth. But we also know it's not that simple. Here in Reno, we don't have a robust public transportation infrastructure to support us driving less. We see bicycle accidents all the time on our mountain roads. And how many of us live within walking distance to our work or our school or even a grocery store? Driving in this place is a matter of necessity and not one of convenience. Policies that might work in other cities won't necessarily work everywhere. So many of us vacillate back and forth, back and forth. But it's important to know that when we do so, because we need to consider each other, because we don't want to hurt anyone inadvertently while helping to save someone or something else, that vacillation is holy. Of course, that is, as long as we make the right decision in the end. Because while Joseph makes the correct choice in the end, the choice to not commit adultery, he still ends up in jail for the crime of adultery, a crime he never committed. Joseph still suffers, albeit with a clean conscience. Because the other thing that the Torah wants to remind us is that there is no guarantee that choosing to do the right thing will be rewarded the way you may want it to be rewarded. That's the tricky thing about ethics and morality. It's not about you as an individual. Ethics and doing the moral thing is about everyone. And sometimes it would be better for an individual if they were to do the wrong thing, but never for the collective. This past week, NPR did an interview with John Ty, the head of a whistleblower protection organization called Whistleblower Aid, and himself someone who revealed NSA crimes and secrets. He said that he counsels every potential whistleblower that he meets with that they would be safest if they just went home and forgot everything that they thought they saw. The interviewer on NPR was shocked. But this is exactly why doing the right thing is a holy act. Because doing the right thing prioritizes the collective good over our own individual benefit. Joseph, whistleblowers, and others who do the right thing even while vacillating, even those who end up being falsely accused or worse off than we were before, these are the people who are doing the most good at enacting real change. And we all have an opportunity to be those people. Doing the right thing doesn't take great intelligence or never wavering morality. It just takes careful consideration of the sides of the issue. And then the courage to do what's right and accept whatever it is that might come next. My hope for each of us is that we all take some time in the coming days to see where we have been vacillating in our own lives and our own decision-making. We owe it to ourselves to consider the greatest good and the most right. And it's my hope that we have the courage to do what we know is right, come what may. Shabbat Shalom. We turn to page 282 at the bottom, and we all rise for the Aleinu. Alina and Sasha, you want to come up and open up the ark for me? All righty. We all rise. All right, each of you gets one door. All right, open it up. All right. Yeah, there you go. Aleinu leshabeach la'adon hakol, latet gedula leotze bereshit, shelo asanu kegoye ha'aratzot, velo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, v'goralenu kechol hamonam. Ma'anachnu korim u'mishtachavim u'modim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu. Page 285. Let the time not be distant, O God, when all shall turn to you in love, when corruption and evil shall give way to integrity and goodness, when superstition shall no longer enslave the mind, nor idolatry blind the eye. O may all created in your image become one in spirit and one in friendship, forever united in your service. Then shall your realm be established on earth, and the word of your prophet fulfilled. Adonai will reign forever and ever. Page 287. V'nemar v'haya Adonai Lamelech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad. Go ahead, shut the door. Can you shut your door? Thank you, Alina. Thank you very much. You may be seated. We think of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those who died at this season in years past, and those whom we have drawn into our hearts with our own. At this time, we are in recent mourning for Stanley Browdy and Lucille Alexander. We are still in the first year of mourning for Betty Williams, Pamela Walker, Barb McBrady, Mary Jane Ludwig, Inga Kaplan, Elizabeth Ruth Rassler, James Cross, Peter A. Alsberg, PhD, Eileen Jenkins, Selma Four, Steve Strauss, Andrew Varadi, Donna Matlis, Charlie Perlman, Rabbi Michael Cook, Sharon Perlman, Millie Small, Alan Dabro, William Leibovic, Jim Valentine, Eli Kane, David Stucker, Terry Gregory, Grayson Corbett, Joan Nutkin, Andrew Venuti, Gerald Kaufman, and Golda Bat-Max Viscera. We are also commemorating the yahrzeits of Paul Schumer, Bess Barber, Etta Goldstein, Michael Four, Maxwell Kahn, Helen Luxon, Isidore Pansky, Marion Goldzier, Seaman Kaplan, Arlene Dabro, Max Garfinkel, Harry Grossman, Jack Laskin, Eugene Gabriel Rochetta, Judson Reichman, and Esther Garfinkel. If there are other names that you'd like to add to the list, please do so in the chat or as my hands come over you. Zichronam livracha, may their memories be for a blessing always. If it is your custom, please turn to 294 and rise for the Mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah. Be'alma divra chirute v'yamlich malchute. B'chayachon uvyomechon uvchaye d'chol Beit Yisrael. Ba'agala uvizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehe shmei Rabba mevorach leolam ulamei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yitale v'yithalal shemei d'kudesha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbachata v'nechemata. Da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehe shlama Rabba min Shemaya, v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all who mourn. And together we say, Amen. You may be seated. Many thanks to Terry and Alexa for being our greeters, to Michael Gorden for being our tech person in the back, making sure that all of you online can follow along. Thank you to everyone who participated in our services. And it is my pleasure to give a couple of announcements. There will be no Yism'Zoom following the service tonight. We will return to our normal Yism'Zoom sessions after services on December 3rd, which is next week. We do not have Torah study tomorrow morning. Please take the week off, sleep in a little, whatever it is that is your restful Shabbat practice. Please enjoy it, and we will pick up with Torah study. We are still in Genesis. We haven't even gotten to the part of Genesis that we are in our parsha. So if you'd like to join our Torah study, it is a fun, lively group. Not tomorrow, but next week at 10 a.m. over Zoom. You can do it in your jammies. I always have my nice big cup of coffee next to me while we study. So please join us for that. The next 2 weeks will see us entering Hanukkah. Hanukkah begins on Sunday night at 4 p.m. down in the Believe Plaza. All the kids in the back are like, yeah, Hanukkah. We are coming together as a Jewish community at 4 o'clock in the at City Plaza for the grand menorah lighting for the first night. There will probably be some singing and dancing and all sorts of fun, as well as lighting that first candle as one big Jewish community. We're super excited. The Reno Jewish community is doing a community-wide Hanukkah celebration, so you'll see lots of different things going on. I know everyone is very sad that we don't have Sinai school this weekend. Again, enjoy, and I hope to see you on Sunday evening or Sunday afternoon. 4 o'clock is still afternoon. On Wednesday, December 1st, which is the fourth night of Hanukkah, we will be lighting the menorah at the Governor's Mansion in Carson City. You can RSVP on the Jewish Nevada webpage. And if you need a ride or a carpool, let us know, because a bunch of us are coming from the Reno area and heading down to Carson City. So let us know if you'd like to be a part of that. RSVPs are required for security purposes. So please go on Jewish Nevada's website and make sure to sign up. It's free. They just need to know that you're coming. At 7 p.m. on December 1st, if you're not going to the menorah lighting at the Governor's Mansion, the Beyond Words book club is meeting via Zoom. And I don't remember what book they are reading, but they've got a whole slew of really great books. You can contact the Beyond Words book club. You can see it online on SinaiReno.org if you need to contact them. Thursday, December 2nd, because it is finals week at UNR, we are doing a 10 p.m. donuts and dreidels. Basically, we're going to Holy Schmidt donuts at 10 p.m. and we are going to eat all of their donuts with all the college students, and it should be a lot of fun. So please join us for that. Friday, December 3rd will be the sixth night of Hanukkah and Shabbat. We will be having services here. Please bring your own Chanukiah with all the candles. You will need 7 candles that night. And then plan to stick around, because we will have a bonfire and hot cocoa outside so that we can sit around and socialize and enjoy Hanukkah together. The next day is Saturday. We will be picking up Torah study again. Sunday, December 5th is our Sacred Sinai Session 3. Feel free to look at all of our Sacred Sinai offerings at sinaireno.org/Sacred Sinai. We've got all sorts of really interesting offerings in that program. And then from 3 to 7 is our community Hanukkah celebration at Temple Emmanuel. And we will be doing crafts and we will be singing with each other and lighting the menorah with each other. And it's a great opportunity to do something over at Temple Emmanuel and again, be one big Jewish community as well. I think we're good. Did I miss anything, Michael? No. Awesome. Thank you again to everyone for being here, for helping out. Our last song can be found on page 323. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Ni L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzedchem L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. If you'd like to follow along with Kiddush and Motzi, you can turn to page 5. Stick this. Actually, you hold that. I'll hold this. How's that? Yeah. Keep that covered so it doesn't get jealous. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pari hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzav banu v'shabbat kodsho me'ahava u'v'ratzon hinchilanu zikaron l'maaseh v'reishit ki hu yom tchila l'mikra'e kodesh zecher l'tziat Mitzrayim ki banu v'achata ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim ve'shabbat kodshecha ve'ahava u'v'ratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat. L'chaim. Right. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom, everyone.